Max Verstappen took an amazing win in Spa yesterday, and in this video I'm going to showcase why and how the Red Bull and Max were so fast, and what it means for the rest of the season going forwards. Going into the weekend, we all expected Red Bull to be very strong anyway. The car is very aero efficient, meaning it has a lot of downforce with very little drag. The long straights in Sector 1 and Sector 3 meant that the circuit played to the Red Bull's strengths, and Max took advantage of that in Saturday's qualifying. He outqualified Sainz by 0.6 of a second and was almost 0.8 quicker than teammate Sergio Perez. So you could argue that Max was making the difference on Saturday from a driving point of view as well. This telemetry graph I've made on Python using the Fast F1 API shows the live delta and the speed trace between Max and Carlos from their fastest laps in Q3. Max opted for a medium downforce setup, considering the track layout, compared to Sainz, who was on a very low downforce spec for extra straight line speed. We can see Sainz is strong on the straights in both Sector 1 and 3. It must be noted Sainz didn't have the toe on his fastest lap, so it's on as even there. This can be put down to the difference in wing levels both drivers were running, but crucially, it shows that the Red Bull was able to run higher downforce without sacrificing a lot of top-end speed, which is what I mentioned earlier with aero efficiency. Max was still 0.2 quicker in Sector 1, mainly because through La Source he gained about 0.1 of a second, 0.1 from Sainz, because of the higher downforce he was able to run, and not lose that on the straights. This had a devastating effect in Sector 2, where obviously with Max's higher wing level, he was able to be really quick through the corners, the twisty Sector 2 chicanes, and he gained a lot of time on Sainz and also his teammate Perez through Sector 2. And through Sector 3, Max was in a league of his own again through the bus stop chicane, gaining even more time, taking a dominant pole position on Saturday afternoon. As for other teams up and down the grid, Alpine did a fantastic job with both their drivers, Ocon outqualifying Alonso despite towing him round, but they secured the maximum grid position with all the grid penalties. So amazing job from Alpine. And shout out to Alex Albon, Q3 in the Williams, who are phenomenally quick on the straights, and Albon extracting everything out of his lap on Saturday afternoon. Mercedes struggled a lot, Hamilton 0.3 quicker than George Russell, but a big surprise from Mercedes, very disappointing Saturday pace. But as we get on to Sunday in a minute, things did get better for Mercedes, but the Saturday struggles continued for the Silver Arrows. Even though they got pole in the Hungaroring, it did come as a bit of an outlier, and generally speaking, the trend has been that Mercedes have been slow on Saturdays than on Sundays. The team says it could be down to tyres not being in the right window, the cooler conditions didn't play into their favour, so that could be an explanation, but it is a bit head-scratching for not just us fans, but also the team itself, to have such a big difference between qualifying pace and race pace. Moving on to the race, Max Verstappen won the race starting from 14th on the grid. He was in an absolute league of his own. You can see the average lap times from every single driver throughout the race. Max could have gone even quicker according to Helmut Marko, yet was still 5/6 quicker than the entire field, cruising to a victory by almost 20 seconds, starting from 14th, a phenomenal performance from the Dutchman. Perez's pace was a bit poor, it must be said, to be so far off your teammate starting 14th, whereas you were starting second, doesn't help at all. He got a bad start. The plan was probably for Perez to be leading into Lecom, but the bad start meant that he couldn't fight Sainz until later on in the race. Sainz's pace was also quite concerning, being very even with George Russell from start to finish, only finishing 2 seconds ahead of the Brit in the Mercedes. You could argue that if Hamilton hadn't Had us shunt with Alonso, he probably would have finished ahead of Sainz, who was starting on pole position. So if I was Ferrari, I'd be quite concerned with that showing on Saturday and Sunday. And Leclerc's strategy, once again, some strange things were going on, using the medium tyre in the final stint, when the hard was quite clearly the better race tyre from all the data the team and other teams up and down the grid gathered. They struggled a lot with tyre deg once again, just like in Hungary and other races we've seen. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Ferrari, and the strategy at the end of the race to pit Leclerc for a fastest lap was very risky. Ultimately, Leclerc speeding in the pit lane got him a penalty, and it all went downhill. It was all over the place. But Leclerc was unlucky to get Max's visor tear off, stuck in his brake duct, so his race was compromised. But going forwards, Ferrari need to up it and salvage something from this season, because it's looking inevitable that Max has got the title wrapped up. But some consolation victories and strong performances for Ferrari would be a big bonus for them going into next year and beyond. Hectic race in the midfield. Albon was superb on Sunday, defending from all the faster cars behind. They did have more pace than Alex, but Alex's car, the Williams, was amazing on the straights, and nobody could pass him. And he got a point in the end of the race. Fantastic performance from Albon all weekend. Alonso coming in after the collision with Hamilton to finish ahead of Leclerc, no matter what the strategy was, what the penalty was, Alonso got all the points available to him, so shout out to him. Also, Esteban Ocon, grid penalty, but still came in behind Alonso, maximum points for Alpine, so they're going to be very happy with that result on Sunday. Hamilton's going to be very disappointed. He's already said he's sorry to the team. He takes full responsibility for the crash with Alonso. So there's another race in Zandvoort this weekend and a doubleheader with Monza. So they have another opportunity to bounce back. They should be stronger in Zandvoort. There aren't as many straights and it's not as reliant on aero efficiency. So if it has a similar trend to the Hungaroring, they should be much stronger. Now, ultimately, is this Verstappen's championship? I'd say yes. I think we've all kind of accepted that Max has got this one in the bag. 98 points ahead of Leclerc, and he's some margin ahead of Perez in P2, but Perez won't challenge Max. So realistically, Max's only challenger is Charles and Sainz, who are very close in the standings now due to loads of external issues. But ultimately, Leclerc's not going to crawl back a 98-point deficit with the remaining 8 races, let's be honest. I think now it's all about who's going to finish P2 in the championship. Can Perez hold on? Can Hamilton or George Russell get in the fight for P2? They're not too far away from both Ferraris. And Perez is about 45 points ahead of Hamilton, who's currently 6th in the championship. I think if Mercedes sort their dismal qualifying consistency out and can be as fast as they were in Hungary and France in the remaining races, I think Hamilton has got a shot at P2. Remains to be seen. Should be exciting to see that battle and watch out for that in the remaining races. As for can Max break Vettel's win record? I think he definitely can. I think if the engine stays intact in Monza, he should walk to that race easily. That's another free win on the cards, I would say. He was stunningly quick in Zandvoort, which is his home race. That's another potential W coming his way. So I think the win record is definitely on the cards for Max. Will he win 9 in a row? I don't think so. But you never say never in F1. Max has been phenomenal this year. And if he does win the championship, it could be as early as Singapore or Japan time, given how out of sorts Ferrari look. He fully deserves it. He's been incredible, impeccable, formidable all year. it's just a question of, can Mercedes get in the fight? Can Ferrari sort out their problems, which are starting from the top down? It's not just one person at Ferrari. Everything seems to be out of sorts. That's something to look forward to. The midfield, who's going to finish best of the rest? McLaren, Alpine, that battle is going to be very exciting. And yeah, that's it for today's data roundup. Not too much to say, really. The race wasn't too exciting. Max dominated. Hats off to the reigning world champion, Max Verstappen. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I've been Rana from Formula UR, and until the next video, I'll see you around.